Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. Today we are on the DCTV show episode 82. We've got Eric here, we've got Andy down below. This is going to be a very good stream. We've got lots of stuff to talk about. And so how are you guys doing on this fine evening?
I love being a bottom.
That's a good way to start.
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
And I'm in the middle somehow, like in a weird shape. Yeah.
So Ben is a top?
I have no idea. Yeah, so I don't know. Good way to start the stream. But just as always, I wanted to remind you guys as we start the stream, please be sure to send in super chats, and we'll get your super chats answered throughout the live stream by Eric, Andy, and I. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead. We got like a bunch of topics that we're gonna talk about, and I guess some of these topics are probably going to be covered on the after party on Saturday. So this is kind of like a teaser, I guess. I don't know how much they're going to go into.
It's an interlude.
It's an interlude.
You never know. Stuff happens on Fridays. We could have like a bunch of news.
Yeah, there could be huge news or something. You know, maybe James Gunn gets fired.
Ooh,
who knows?
Please don't say that.
Anyway, yeah,
we're here for us DC fans. Come on now.
That's true. Okay, we're going to hop into our first main topics, but yeah, get sending in any questions that you guys have in the chat or super chats. Okay, so the first topic we're going to talk about today is there was a new trailer that was released literally like the other day, and I was kind of surprised. I should have been expecting it, but it was the Legion of Superheroes animated film trailer. They dropped that project out of nowhere. Was any of you expecting that?
I'll just go first. I if it was mentioned anywhere, I completely forgot about it. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting it at all, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Andy?
I mean, because it was announced at Comic-Con, so but it was usually I thought like maybe this would come like maybe in December, January, but then they went ahead and said, it's gonna be for early 2023, and now this morning they sent Warner sent the official date, so it's in February. Yeah, it's the animated universe has always intrigued me, like what they're trying to do with it ultimate, like long term, because we thought that's what they were doing with the what did he call it, the New 52 universe they were doing with the animated stuff. Like, did he call it DCAU or
yeah, you're talking about the Justice League movies and the Justice League Dark and all that. Yeah, it was DCAU.
Yeah, and then they're just like, we don't want them anymore, so we're just gonna have Barry messed up time again.
Yeah, but I like that whole universe. I think DC is very strong on their animated films. I really liked The Long Halloween recently. That was one of my favorite ones. I don't know about everyone else, but yeah, so I was excited to see this and to see a Legion of Superheroes film. I'm a big Legion fan, obviously, from the comics. And then I obviously love them, recently on Supergirl, which was very cool for me.
There's a Supergirl show?
Really?
What?
I have no idea.
This was the project, if I remember correctly, that at first we weren't sure if it was animated or not, and then they came out and confirmed it was animated. Is this the same project that we were?
No. This is there's a show from Brian Michael Bendis in the works at HBO Max.
That's animated.
Yeah.
Wait, they're doing an animated movie and an animated show?
But that's why I was surprised, because when they said Legion Project, I just assumed it was the Brian Michael Bendis one.
That's a little weird, but okay, I'm good with that.
But so is David Zaslav, so this fits.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if that was like, I don't feel like that was coordinated very well, considering there was those like teasers by Brian Michael Bendis, and then this came off.
Coordination, don't know her.
Don't know her.
I have no idea who she is.
Coordination cannot relate. No, but like I think because sometimes what they do with these kind of things is that also they like to test the waters a little bit, and now again to the chat, don't y'all go and say Andy dropped his scoop the other night. Like, this is just my own opinion. So Warner Brothers, back off. I think, for example, like we looked at the Green Lantern animated movie that came out in the summer, I think, Beware My Power, that had Jon Stewart in it. I think they partly used it to kind of see, like, how would like a solo project with Jon Stewart work. And that's when we got the news about HBO Max redeveloping the show and so on.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the animated movie is also as a way to see, will this fly, and will this be something that can encourage them to pick up the series, which will Bendis is described as like an adult animated show.
Yeah, that's what he said.
What platform is this movie on? Is it theaters? Are they doing it on streaming? Is it just Blu-ray?
DVD, Blu-ray.
So it's not streaming anywhere.
I don't believe so. No,
So
this
really
is how they normally release the DC.
Yeah. It's just really interesting that they're not, because normally I remember with the DCAU stuff, you could also rent it on demand, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing that. That seems
I think
like,
you can rent it, but I don't know if it's HBO Max. I think
I can look. Let me look at the press release and see if it says anything.
That's a good idea. But okay, question, Eric. Whilst Andy does that, do you think this project would have happened if it wasn't for Supergirl? Do you think Legion is popular enough by itself?
that's an interesting question. I think Legion is very popular with like just comic book fans.
Yeah.
I don't know if without Supergirl introducing Legion to like live action, sort of like I feel like Arrow's Deathstroke sort of raised the popularity of Deathstroke for the public. Mm-hmm. Then obviously Arkham had Deathstroke as well.
Yeah.
But Legion of Superheroes, really the only thing they've been connected in within the last 5 years was Supergirl, the TV show.
Yeah.
So that between Mon-El, who also obviously is going to be a big deal on the animated movie.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we could say that certainly Supergirl at the very least introduced Legion to the general public. Because they are a very niche comic book series. Like diehard comic book fans know who they are. Some people may know the characters, but not everybody knows about the Legion and the story about this future team of superheroes. So
yeah, and so also the fact that I wanted to point it out that obviously Supergirl is the lead in this film, and Supergirl sometimes is part of the Legion, but she is kind of the core character here. So I do feel that influence when I saw that Supergirl was the leading character and she would be going to the future and then meeting the Legion, and the fact that in the title card it has a House of L symbol. I don't know. I feel like they're trying to market it towards Supergirl fans at least, right?
Yeah, and I also hope that the same power they're putting into Supergirl in this series, they also do it with the Berlanti series, so that people that do love that character can just continue, like, even if it's animated, continue watching her in some version, be a lead or at least part of the lead of the show.
Yeah. Did you find out anything, Andy?
So it says is that it is coming to 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack, Blu-ray plus digital, Blu-ray and digital starting February 7th, 2023 from Warner Entertainment. But that they've had a tracker of putting those films up on that streaming site on HBO Max afterwards. So it's not rather about if, it's a rather about when. But yeah, I think but like if people, if you don't have HBO Max, but I feel like you like to buy things on YouTube, I think the movie will be available to buy on YouTube.
That's where I prefer to do it. I mean, I'll get the Blu-ray eventually, but I'd like to watch it on streaming first.
Yeah.
I think I'll watch it on streaming. So sometimes actually in London they do screening events for the DC animated films. It's pretty cool. We saw quite a lot of them in the cinema. But yeah, so okay, how are you guys feeling about this film? Are you excited? Like, do you generally get excited for animated films set in the DC universe?
Yeah, there's lots of them I do. Typically anything that isn't gosh, I'm gonna get attacked for this. Anything that isn't just Batman adjacent, I typically get excited for, only because I feel there's so much Batman stuff.
Yeah,
there's very specific Batman characters that I really love. Like, obviously the Harley Quinn cartoon is amazing, but like just in general, I typically, I'm like, oh, okay, a new Batman thing, that's fine, I'll get to it when I get to it. But stuff like this, I'm like, I want to watch this right away. So
that's the same for me. What do you think, Andy? Are you excited?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved DC. I mean, DC animation has always been, one of the like groundbreaking things for superhero in cartoons. Just Batman animated series was generational defining for so many years, and with Bruce Timm and that crew did is what I think paved the way for a lot of things that we have today. And I mean, I remember back in the early 2000s when we had those great these anime movies like Superman, Batman, and Public Enemy, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, that Wonder Woman movie we had, and so on. Green Lantern, Beware My First Flight, I think. So so it's like there's so much good, and I feel like this is why I enjoyed the Justice League New 52 based universe, but something was missing. But when this franchise came to life, the animation looks so crisp and so clean.
Yeah.
And we stand in a good animated movie these days. But also, like, it feels like they're now trying to take a few more risks now by not doing too many arcs from the comic. They're trying to create their own stuff, but also like they're really trying to give us, a shared universe. That I really enjoyed seeing. Like, I love Justice Society World War II, and seeing this trailer looks phenomenal, and I love Supergirl as well. It is interesting. You guys both mentioned that they were marketing through the House of El symbol, which this is what usually they do when they're not entirely sure if the brand itself, the title itself, will be able to sell it. So, for example, like the Flashpoint Paradox, that movie is a Flash movie. Like, let's not kid ourselves. But because back in the day, before the Flash TV show, Warner Bros. Didn't know if that movie would necessarily do well if it was called The Flashpoint, The Flash or Flashpoint. So they just slapped Justice League in front of it to be able to sell it. Also, fun flash fact: that movie dropped on July 30th, 2013, the same day the Flash TV show was announced by the CW.
Wow.
Really?
I actually just did a watch along for that on my channel.
I love that film.
Watching it back, I realized how superior the script for that movie is than like 90% of the other movies that have come out. Like the animated movies, and this is why I'm so excited about the Legion movie, is typically with DC animated movies, they don't put in filler content. They get right into whatever they need to get into, and they don't take the viewing for granted. Like, they know you're going to understand what's happening. They're like, you get it, you'll understand it, you just follow along. Because with the Flashpoint Paradox, you're kind of just thrown into that. Like, after the very beginning of that movie, when you get introduced to Barry and his mother and his circumstances, after that they're like, okay, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman, these are these characters, and they don't like worry about that kind of stuff. So I feel with Legion they're probably going to do really well in that regard. Also, I did see somebody mention the art style, because it is different from like the typical DC AU art style, with like the thick lines around it, which is very like Teen Titans reminiscent or whatever. I happen to like it. I think it looks really good. I like that thick line art style that's kind of like popular, started out in like the 50s and 60s, and then came back again in the late 90s with like what was some of the shows like Fairly Odd Parents and stuff like that. So I like that art style. So for me, I think it's cool. I would be okay if they did like a series of movies in that particular art style.
Yeah, I didn't really notice like such a huge difference, but now you say it, yeah, I think there is definitely a difference in the lines. But Andy was saying about the House of El symbol in the title, because they don't know if they can market it.
Wait, before you go on, are you wearing your own merch?
Yes, that's right.
I just realized that.
We are releasing it this week, so we already got some orders.
What a flex!
Members can order now. If you are a member of the channel, I will send you a link.
What service are you using for your merch?
It's actually a UK-based one, and it's actually sustainable and stuff. Like, as a vegan and stuff like that, I care about the the environment or whatever. So I've chose like a very cool service. It's called like T-Meal.
Okay.
And it's UK based, and
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just saw that and I was like, that must be his new merch.
No,
I remember you talking to me about it like months ago, and I'm finally seeing like the shirt. So
yeah, it's very simple, and there's lots of different colors and different hoodie and sweatshirt and stuff like that. It's very cool. I'm gonna Eric and Andy, send me your address. I will send them, and you better wear it on an after party one time, or else. Actually, I will. I'll buy it.
If you have plus size for me, I will happily.
I think there is an extra large. I think is available. So
okay, cool.
If anyone needs that,
I will happily let you brandmates put perfectly fine.
Is it flammable? Oh,
I'm gonna send Paigey, and we'll see the burning video. Yeah.
You want to send a shirt all the way from the UK to Australia? Do you know how much tax you're gonna have to and customs
just
you're
to
gonna pay?
See Paigey burn it. Good content. Okay.
I mean, he's gonna have to do some content because most of those Arrowverse shows are almost gone now. Paigey, I'm kidding.
True.
But
yeah, so what do you guys think about the House of L symbol being there? I really thought that they would have gone for like Supergirl ... Legion of Superheroes or something, like they did Justice League Flashpoint, because they're very much so, I think, marketing it that way with the House of L symbol, but I guess they shied away. Do they have more confidence than what I thought?
What do you think, Andy? You know more about like the marketing stuff.
Yeah,
there,
so. I mean, I don't know too much, but I will say this, that I think that they want, because the L, if the Legion symbol, with the big L and the ring and so on. I think because that hasn't gone as mainstream yet, I think that's why they are trying to use something that is more recognizable to people. They know that we're gonna use Superman again, with Darren Criss again in this movie, and he's gonna be tied to this new Supergirl. So I think they're just trying to take advantage of like what they think people are already familiar with when it comes to this specific franchise. But it's interesting. It's interesting for sure to see how they keep, because I think there's no reason why you couldn't call this, Supergirl, Legion of Superheroes, Supergirl and the Legion.
Well, I mean, it also has Justice League characters in there. I mean, you saw Batman and Superman.
Yeah,
and it's Jensen Ackles, and it's
now
Chris.
I don't know the exact dates, but I believe it came out this year. Wasn't there a like a Justice League versus Legion series that was out this year?
In the comics.
Yeah, I believe in the comics they were trying to restart the whole the Legion of Superheroes.
I haven't stayed up to date recently, so
I think it came out. I think I saw an issue of it like in May or something of this year. So it's been out. So maybe they're just trying to push the Legion. Maybe this is a new thing for them. Maybe this is their answer for like the younger, because we have Young Justice. Who knows what's going to happen with that show? I'm assuming it's not going to continue. But we have all these characters like with Teen Titans or whatever that have gotten older. Legion is a team based in the future, which means they can be as young as you want them to be for as long as you want them to be. So I feel like they might be introducing this as an answer to like the younger Marvel stuff, like, because Marvel has like the Young Avengers. I think this might be them sort of trying to do something like that. And Supergirl is a perfect market for that, especially if they were planning on doing something with the live action Supergirl that was going to tie into the Legion that maybe got canceled. Maybe this was happening when that was just an idea floating around in the boardroom or something.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what Legion Supergirl idea? Wait, what Supergirl Legion idea?
Oh, the Supergirl that was going to be in the Flash movie. I was like, maybe this was an idea they had originally pitched for like that, but they decided to do like an animated thing. Maybe they were going to do like a live action Legion story with Supergirl. But
that would have been cool. Maybe in the future, but yeah, I guess it could have been a disguise.
This is not me suggesting I heard anything. This is me just speculating that maybe they wanted to push forward like this younger team, and Supergirl is connected with Legion. It would make a lot of sense for her to be with those characters. And if they were going to introduce Sasha Calle as Supergirl, that maybe their idea is either to go in that direction, or maybe that was an idea they pitched that just didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I can say this: all the scripts I've heard about the Supergirl movie, and Ben, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you too much, but all I heard about the script for Supergirl movie in the last couple of years had nothing to do with the future, sadly. But but also Eric knows DC better than this freaking company does. So I actually would have preferred if they had done that.
Well, I mean, Supergirl is connected to the Legion. She's like a character that they inspires the Legion. It would make sense for her to be part of that. But you're right. Who knows? And Sonic saying that DC Young Avengers are called Titans. Titans has aged up. Like most of those characters, they've shown them getting progressively older. Because it's getting to the point where them being the young of like Titans was introduced in 30, 40 years ago. So those characters are getting older. They want to introduce another newer, younger group, just like what Marvel is doing. So I suspect that's what's going on at DC. It's the only thing I can think of, because you were asking about why they were pushing it or why they had faith in it. I think maybe they're just trying to brand it. Maybe this is something they're trying to start pushing as a brand, as Legion of Superheroes. Maybe they feel like it's the next thing for them.
I feel like it's definitely a good option, like in terms of, you know, I think also with James Gunn, basically, you know, he's been doing those cryptic tweets recently.
Haven't noticed.
No, I haven't noticed.
He's so casual about it.
But like the thing is, right, those characters aren't the most popular. So do you feel like James Gunn is actually going to kind of champion some of those characters or team ups like the Legion? Or do you think he's going to kind of stick to what David Zaslav says? We need Superman films, we need Batman films, that's it. You know, I don't know.
I think it's a bit of a balance there. I think that James would not have signed on for this deal if it didn't mean that he could actually get some, you know, because you know, this is a role. It's not just a poster sticker they're putting on his head and just pretending. He has to be able to be in charge and have some creative say. And I think I would not be shocked if one of the things that made him want to come on and do this with Peter Safran was the idea of getting to do not just the A and B list characters, but like doing characters like Peacemaker and Vigilante, or, you know, even like the people that he's been teasing already. So I think Legion could definitely fit in there. And, you know, we were talking about the whole like the Supergirl connection with and so on. You know, obviously, I don't think anyone should be worried that we're going to lose Sasha Calle after the Flash movie. As far as actor that plays the Flash, different story. But, you know, for example, let's say if they are, you know, like if they were about having both Kara and Clark like in the same timeline in the DC, even though they could obviously coexist, you know, like we don't have to be like Superman Lois. That doesn't think that we can live in a shared universe with other heroes. Isn't that right, Todd Helping? But maybe what they will do is that they will, you know, if they do a Supergirl movie, they may end up sending her to the future or something like that in a similar fashion. And that's why they're testing maybe through this movie, see how people will respond to that. But yeah, I think James Gunn is definitely going to do like smaller characters. Like I think he knows like it's called DC Universe. It's not called just Superman and Batman and guest starring other heroes. You know,
Right.
So because that's what you know. James Gunn literally took Guardians of the Galaxy. He took a freaking tree, a talking raccoon, and a obnoxious Star-Lord. Gamora, Drax, characters that people never heard of, and he made them A-list characters. They have their own comics now because of that movie. So I think that's what I think that he can do that too. If he does it right, I think he can do it with a lot of DC
He could do it
characters.
with Legion. If they do a live action Legion, I could totally see James Gunn being at least the executive producer on it, because I feel like he understands how to take these like quirky, you know, characters that aren't mainstream and make them relatable. Because I know it didn't do well financially, but I think his Suicide Squad movie was really good.
It was really good.
I think that it gets a bad rap. It didn't do well in theaters, but I think that had to do with a lot of the issues with like HBO Max and COVID and all of that. It was so much better than the original. I forgot the original even existed after seeing that movie because it just didn't make sense to me to even think of it. I'll even go as far to say that the Suicide Squad is one of the most comic booky movies that DC's ever made.
I agree.
I mean, Starro
as
the villain, like
I can agree with that. I mean, I personally don't love that movie so bad because I have like some issues with its political messages in that film, and but I love seeing Starro. That was like, you know, that whole sequence with
he made Ratcatcher a fan favorite character.
Yeah, he made King Shark cute mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's done good stuff, and I really love Peacemaker. It was hilarious.
He's not perfect. He does stuff that some people don't like, but generally he's very talented. And I think if he's got someone handling the financials and he can just be creative, I think it's actually going to be a good thing for DC.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a good team. Like Peter Safran is a good producer. He's produced a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think with someone like James coming up with the creative ideas and then maybe going to Peter being like, could this be a thing? You know, you might get that sort of balance, I hope, between like, you know, Batman and Superman films, and then also films like Blue Beetle, Legion of Superheroes, or anything.
I would get more into my thoughts on that if we're going to talk about the David Zaslav stuff, because I have a lot of opinions about that.
Well, I was gonna, we can talk about that now if you want. I was actually going to bring up. I know you made a video on this, Eric, but the Walter Hamada just moved. So if you want to talk about any of that stuff,
well, it's all combined, kind of. It's all kind of
yeah.
combined,
Let's combine it. So we'll move on to this topic now, guys. So if you guys have any questions in regards to DC and the changes and everything, you know, going into the future about the DCEU, please be sure to send in any super chats that you guys have, and we'll be sure to.
Yeah, Ben wants to see like $5 super chats. Where are the $5 super chats, Ben?
Come on, guys, where are they at? But yeah, okay, Eric, off you go. You get started.
You said Walter Hamada first. My opinions on that, because I can talk about both of them. I think it's really interesting. Walter Hamada has had so much controversy around him, and who knows what. I mean, it could be worse than what people have said. It could be less than what people said. Who knows? There's so much controversy. But what I did say about him was his track record was going to allow him to continue to move around Hollywood, because that's just the way Hollywood doesn't really hold people accountable unless it's something that's going to hurt their pockets. And unfortunately, what Walter Hamada did wasn't enough for them to be like angry or whatever.
Is that true? No accountability in Hollywood?
Yeah, that's what it is.
You don't know her? You don't go here?
Yeah, she's a mystery. Accountability. But I knew that his track record, because look at what he has under his belt. I mean, he's got the Aquaman movie, which was like a huge financial success. Yeah. The Conjuring franchise. You know, yeah, there's been duds under his time at DC, but I mean, when you make billion-dollar movies and billion-dollar franchises, it tends to, like, the duds disappear a little bit. So, you know, and his idea, so regardless of how you feel about Walter Hamada, I think his idea of like those movies competing on streaming leading into the larger blockbuster films, I think that is a smart idea. I think from the standpoint of like consumers, it's a good idea. Now, no opinion of him as a person. I don't even know him, so I'm not going to give that. But I will say that that's a smart idea, and I think Paramount agrees with that. And Paramount Plus has a very successful streaming service. They've got a lot of very successful IPs that they have. So they see that vision. They hired him on. He's probably much happier in this position, not dealing with all the drama over at Warner Brothers Discovery. So, you know, we'll have to see what he does with this. He's specifically in the horror genre, which opens up the door for just about anything he wants to do. You know, time will tell. Paramount Plus is going to show whether Warner Brothers Discovery made the right decision or not, because if Walter Hamada's idea, also, by the way, Smile cost $17 million to make, has already made over 200 and some million in the box office. So right now, the concept of like cheaper horror being sold and streamed seems to be something that's working in the market. It's specifically with horror. Horror seems to be doing really well with that cross marketing stuff. So
yeah. Andy, any thoughts?
I'm trying to, because apparently I'm not allowed to criticize problematic men in Hollywood. So
criticize them. You're on Ben's stream. Say whatever you want. Get him canceled. Who cares?
No, I would. Listen, if I'm on your stream, Eric, I don't want you to get canceled. If I'm on Ben's stream, I definitely want to get him canceled. So it's like, okay, so here's what anyone who follows me on social media, you know that I have a lot of problems with Walter Hamada. I think that it's been traumatizing to hear the trauma Ray Fisher had to go through throughout all those investigations with Justice League. I still agree with Ray that Walter owes him an apology, and everyone who participated in that, because you should not, as a head of a massive division, interfere when people are coming out and opening up about their pain that was caused on that set. You know, listen, like the moment he left Warner Brothers, like he kind of just left my mind too. So I'm just like, you know, listen, whatever he does, you know, because again, enabled people usually don't get stopped in Hollywood. So like, you know, he will be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, if he's going back to the horror element that kind of was more of his roots, you know, that's good. That's good for him, you know, and hopefully, you know, he allows what obviously he was passionate about to be kind of a healing way for him to make sure that no one else ever gets mistreated or whatever. But also like this will be, you know, if they're looking to make more success in the horror element, then Walter's definitely someone I understand why they would go for. And you know, like that was insane because I didn't know, but I knew, because I mean, you can't go anywhere now these days without seeing that freaking one shot from that Smile movie where she's just standing there, and it's like I woke up to that image once and it was so horrifying. And like I woke up open Twitter and I see just like. And I screamed. I'm like, "What is this?" But yeah, but you know, it's, you know, I'm glad he's away from the DC brand because I just don't think he was a good fit. But you know, if he's back with what made him successful to begin with, you know, that's good for him. So you know, wishing him the best of luck despite my feelings on it and what I know about him. So
well, hopefully with this move, we don't hear anything more about him doing anything. Like that would be good to like subtract that from the world. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, you guys pretty much covered like my thoughts. I don't know. I don't really have much else to add. So let's go to David Zaslav. Eric, what were you gonna say about David? The infamous David that no one has any problem.
I have a nice long like 30-minute video coming out tomorrow about David Zaslav, so just be ready for that.
I mean, I was expecting one long video on it. Is it a rant? Can you confirm live?
Is it what?
Stream? Is it a rant?
Oh yeah, there's a rant in there for sure.
Good.
Look, I'm not going to question his ability to understand like some of the business aspect of it. I get it. He's worked for several companies. He's been, you know, successful with Discovery and all of their little assimilations of smaller brands. I get it. I don't think what he knows about reality TV and unscripted television seems to be working, in my opinion, for Warner Brothers scripted content and movies. And several people have said that what he probably should have done from the get-go is hired people to run each division, people that know what they're doing, which is why I'm glad he did James Gunn and Peter Safran. That's a very smart move for him. But he's been on interviews sort of talking about what he's going to do with DC in very specific ways. And I'm like, wouldn't that be James's decision? Like, why would you be saying all of this now when you just hired James to make these decisions? Like, it just seems really weird. Like, he thinks that fans are confused.
He's in charge, right?
Yeah. But
I mean, he's in charge of the company. But
yeah, but he thinks he hired someone to do a job and now he's micromanaging and doing interviews, saying stuff that's just ridiculous. And this is why I'm saying he doesn't understand the brand. DC fans don't get confused about Elseworld characters. We understand what that is. We know what that means. We understand that the Joker movie is a different story. We understand that the Matt Reeves Batman's in a different world. We understand that the DC EU was something completely different. We understand the Arrowverse was something different. We understand the animated world was something different. In his mind, he thinks having 4 characters of the same kind on different platforms and different mediums confuses people.
Yeah, he thinks it's mind-blowing. Like, and I will have to say, even general audience,
they're not in the same universe. Wait a minute. So you're telling me that Pennyworth, the TV show, is that a prequel to?
I thought Pennyworth was set in Batwoman, and then it was set in Batman, and then Batman vs Superman.
And Naomi, the TV show, doesn't exist in the DCEU. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I had no idea. No, but like general audience members even have kind of got a grasp on that with like the Batman and Joker. I know, for instance, like my mum, and she's not like a big DC fan. She knows that it's not set in the same freaking universe, right?
Well, not only that, but here's the thing. If you are someone that doesn't understand the concept of the multiverse, you're not scouring the internet looking up cameos in movies, right? So you're not going to go into the Batman, right? You're not going to go... I'm supposed to ask you if you just farted, Ben. I'm not going to tell you who told me that.
It's literally my chair is really squeaky.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I told him to buy a new chair, but you know he doesn't want to.
No,
but if you are someone who doesn't care about continuity, you're not following the stuff that we're following. The diehard fans are the only ones really keeping up with cameos and, you know, special guests and stuff like that. We're the only ones doing that. Casual viewers are like, oh, new Batman movie, I'm going to go watch it. New Superman movie, I'm going to go watch it. New Justice League movie, I'm going to go watch it. They determine that based on whether they just want to see the thing that they're looking at. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care about the connectivity. Marvel did that, so Marvel fans now have a expectation of that. DC has not yet established that expectation. And actually, I've said for a long time that I think DC's biggest strength over Marvel is their multiverse. I think DC's multiverse from the comics is far more established than the Marvel multiverse, and it has better stories in the Marvel multiverse.
Yeah,
and I love Marvel, but I just think DC should lean into that. And that's why I like the idea of all these Elseworld movies along with the DCEU, because it really does show what DC is so good. You know, what makes DC so good.
Even though I think they did a good job with like Far From Home and Doctor Strange and stuff, I still feel like the way that the Flash tackled it in the Arrowverse, still the best for me. Still the best. I don't know. So yeah,
No,
I
I agree.
agree. DC does better normally.
That's why I don't like Loki, because I think it's stupid they're saying that, well, when you change the timeline,
There's
it's
so many rules.
it's like variant. I'm like, no, but time travel is time travel, and multiverse is multiverse. Like, let's
Right.
not
They combine
overcomplicate
the
it.
two together in the MCU, which is a little bit more confusing. And I think with DC, like if you look at the Arrowverse bridged everything together, which is crazy. Like they bridged together the old TV shows, the old movies, they bridged together the current movies. They did all of that. And guess what? Fans loved it. And nobody went, oh, that's confusing. I didn't understand that. No one said those things. All they cared about is they saw the movie Flash hugging the TV Flash. And they're like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, they're
right?
like, oh, two Flashes.
Right. Mind blown, right? It looked cool to them. The casual viewers just want cool stuff. So it doesn't matter if there's 15 Batman. It doesn't matter. But David Zaslav seems to think that if you introduce a new Batman movie while you have another Batman on screen at some point, that's going to confuse people. I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna pause there. You guys.
When Ezra,
I'm confused by that.
Yeah, like when Ezra came into the Flash, no one's first thought was like, how did he get here? They're just like, oh, it's cool that he's here, right? I don't know. That's just the way I saw it. I was like, oh, so cool. And like, I'm pretty sure lots of other people think like that as well. Anyway, Andy, what do you think about all of this?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because this is very alarming to me in terms of what we used to have back in. So, because I've been following all this stuff since even Smallville was on, and and like if people who love the Arrowverse think that the Arrowverse producers have it rough, Small had it 10 times worse because there were so many they couldn't do because Warner Brothers had that same mentality. Whoever was the CEO at the time had all that same mentality of we can't have Batman on TV because it's going to confuse people. Also because Christopher Nolan apparently had a lot of say of where he would go outside of that franchise, and they couldn't do a Wonder Woman movie because they were gonna let Joss Whedon ruin it. His script was not good, and so like when they brought on Bart Allen to Smallville in the trailers, they promote as the Flash comes to Smallville. The name is never said. And 2 seasons later, he's only referred as Impulse because that's the only name he was allowed to be referred to because they were supposedly developing a Flash movie. So the idea that we're not like that, David Zaslav is someone. I don't know if he's necessarily saying that we can't have multiple Batman because obviously we're gonna have the Batman franchise going on, and then whatever's going on in the DCU. But like I think that he's just like. I think he was just trying to more say, like, we're not going to go overboard with it, but it's like we're not going to be limiting either. I think he used Batman as an example because I think that's probably what's on his mind most recently because he knows Michael Keaton is in the Flash, Ben Affleck is in the Flash, there's the Batman.
But the thing about it is, Andy, though, they keep pushing hard for the Flash movie, and that's literally a multiverse movie.
Yeah, this is why I'm so shook up.
So what is he talking about?
So he's smoking something. Obviously, he's not thinking because this doesn't make sense to me because he's like despite all the issues with the Flash behind the scenes, he keeps bringing up the Flash anytime he can during these press events. But yet he's like, but we love the multiverse, but also we hate her.
Right.
So
she's invited, but she's got to sit outside. I mean, that's basically what it is.
Like, she doesn't even go here. So she's just
sit by the pole with the dog.
Right. It also in that interview, it's a lot. I don't want to talk about all of it, but just kind of the cliff notes for me was like he would say, oh, we want to invest more money in like exclusive streaming content that's going to bring people in and keep them. But also we don't want to keep making stuff for streaming. We want to sell it off to other streamers because it's not profitable. He said that in the same interview. And I'm like,
I have a theory. What if he is Dr. Jekyll and Hyde in disguise? Because listen, like this just doesn't.
Got 2 alter egos, just like.
Could you imagine 2 popping heads of David Zaslav's, like even like double the monotone? That conference call was the most exhausting thing to listen to because he sounded like because I could tell when he wasn't scripted and when he was scripted, but both times he sounded monotone. It's like we have an exciting opportunity to really capitalize on the DC brand and protect it no matter what.
You know, Court of Owls, that's a funny comment. They're not pushing for this movie, but yet they've already started a script for the second one. They refuse to hold Ezra accountable for anything they've done. They're marketing it around the idea there's a Batman in it. There's so many things they're doing for this Flash movie, and it costs them a ton of money, but they're not pushing for it. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Here's what I can say about when it comes to the Flash sequel script. A lot of times they will have there's a difference between having a treatment end than having a greenlit film. And as far as that there's no greenlighted sequel at this point.
They're hoping that it does well because they want to greenlight a sequel.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't even necessarily know if Ezra will even be part of it, because again, it's like I said this on. I think I even said it on our stream, Eric. Is that a lot of actors, especially with Warner Brothers, they sign free picture deals.
Yeah.
And Ezra, so like if they don't want to bring Ezra back, because I think they're waiting for the trial, which I know you covered. I think they're waiting to see how the trial is. But if they don't want to work with Ezra, they can just say we're just not renewing your contract because they don't want to be sued. Like David Zaslav is like, I just want to be Scrooge McDuck and swim through the coin.
There's a fix for this. At the end of the first movie, the Flash goes to jail, and they just film all of Ezra's scenes while he's locked up, and then you can just do a Flash in prison storyline. That would.
Okay, then, yeah. Barry can be the new Henry Allen, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they can do
that. They will be soulmates.
They may recast Ezra because they are problematic, and I think the studio wants to move away from problematic stuff. So,
and they could explain it by changing the ending.
Well, I mean, but they don't love the multiverse. So, I mean, how are they going to change?
They're frenemies. They're frenemies with the multiverse.
The only way they're going to please fans is if it's Grant. As the replacement.
As much as I would love that, like I don't even think, even if Grant would love to be paid more and be able to do feature films, I think getting attached to this franchise, given all the heat surrounding it, I think that's the last thing Grant would want to do. I wouldn't be shocked if 5 years from now, let's say the movie comes out, it's a success, but if don't focus on the Flash, and 5 years later, what are we gonna do? And they say, Grant, would you be interested? Because by that point, he knows that everyone will know that we shouldn't let one actor in one film ruin an entire experience. And it's like, okay, I didn't do anything wrong, and I have played the Flash for almost 10 years, and I now get a chance to do it on the big screen. So I'm sure maybe he'll be up for it then. But
keep in mind that no matter what happens, unless there's some weird 20-year contract, there's no way that anyone will ever play the Flash for more hours of time than Grant has.
Yeah,
100% agreed. Yeah, that's
think about it. Every 2 weeks he plays an hour's worth of, or a movie's worth of the Flash every 2 episodes. So
not a lot of actors have that track record. Like Tom Welling he's the only one who's played Superman for the longest time. So
nobody will probably play Supergirl for as long as Melissa did. She'll have been Supergirl longer than anybody else. So
unless Ben decides to play Supergirl himself at some point too.
Yeah, I'm gonna become Supergirl.
Green Arrow, count that out. There's no one that's ever going to beat Stephen Amell's time as Green Arrow. Never going to happen.
I'm just saying that Ben would look really pretty with a blonde wig. I'm just saying.
I actually think Ben, if he got the costume from Shazam, could play Mon-El.
I could be Mon-El.
See?
Let's go. And Eric is going to be. Do we say? Because he's all in green today, is he either the Riddler or is he Arrow?
He literally says Aquaman on his shirt, Ben. He's Aquaman.
Okay, but Aquaman, yeah.
I got you, Eric. I saw when you were
but what's the hat? That looks like an arrow hat.
It is an arrow hat.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but the shirt literally says you can literally see man on one of on his chest.
Okay, fine. Yeah, Eric just wants to point out that he's a man. Okay, guys. Yeah. All right. Geez, Eric. But yeah. So I don't know. This.
I just had a really funny thought.
And
yeah. So
it's all a mess.
I was gonna say, do we think? Because you saw the release for the promos. I forget what the name of the event is. What's the upcoming event where they had DC?
Oh, the Brazilian event. I know. And CC.
They're leaving Blue Beetle out, and Blue Beetle's literally a character that would be popular in Brazil.
Wait. Is this actually confirmed they're leaving Blue Beetle out?
All the promos I've seen have been everything but Blue Beetle.
what is happening with 2022, y'all? I cannot deal with this
You
nonsense.
can't tell me that by now they don't have at least something to promo in Brazil for Blue Beetle. They have to have something.
They have a lot ready at this point. So I don't. Maybe maybe it's one of those things that they don't want to announce it. Maybe some of these things will be a surprise. But it's like Blue Beetle is, again, even though I know Zola is, he's huge and famous and so on. Blue Beetle is not mainstream yet. They need to market it.
Marketing place to drop it, right? Like
Brazil would have been perfect to market Blue Beetle. Yeah, I mean that would have been a really great place to premiere it. So
okay.
I don't understand anymore what's happening with this year. It's like Behbakht gets canceled.
What's going on? I don't know. Let's go into some super chats because I missed a couple. And welcome Gary. Gary's in the live stream right now. So yes. How much for you to kiss? I don't know, guys. How much for you two to kiss live on stream?
I don't want to get Eric killed, and I want to get Ben killed either. So,
First of all, like we're not even in the same location, so it's going to be a lot more than 179.
Flashfest is going to take a ticket to San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a lot. It's a lot more detailed than just a 179.
Exactly, and
although I want dinner first.
Yeah, so we can take you, and then Paigey can come to Comic-Con, and Paigey, we'll be Paigey, and
you and Paigey should share a room together, Ben.
No, this guy wants to stay in LA and drive every morning to San Diego.
Paigey, have you heard about the gas price in America?
Yeah, have you heard? You're gonna pay like $1,000 in a week or something. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know how much Flashverse, but I don't know. Maybe it'll all go down at San Diego Comic-Con. Are you guys? Oh, Eric, are you still planning to go? Because I'm planning to go.
I've already got all this stuff set up, so hopefully I'll be able to. No problems this year. If my badge comes with the right name on it.
Let's hope. And maybe we'll be seeing you there, Andy.
Because I don't write for Supergirl TV, which is
he told me.
I told Andy about
and I laughed. So I'm like, how does that even happen? I can go if I want to. But it depends on what's going to be there. I think I might be going to New York Comic Con next year though. So
cool.
Yeah. Also, San Diego is just listen for a brown, hairy Persian like myself, San Diego is not nice to my skin. So, but you know what? I mean, if we all go there, we should hang out. We should do a stream or something.
Yeah, live stream with everyone. Imagine that would be so cool. We'll definitely do something if we all end up going. I'm definitely going, so I'll see you there, Eric, and anyone else who decides to show up. But anyway, we got a $10 super chat from citizen Tim Scott. Thank you very much for the super chat. There is no question with it. So yeah, I just appreciate the support.
How about we ask Tim a question then?
What's your question for Tim then?
Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Okay, tell us in the chat, Tim. Okay, Gary sends in a super chat. Welcome, Gary, and thank you for the super chat. Gary says, when will they announce the spring schedule for the Flash season? For the Flash, will the Flash season 9 be cancelled? Will Superman and Lois be 2? Are you guys mad at me? Are you guys proud of me? Guys, are we mad at him or are we proud of him today?
No, I'm not mad.
The consensus.
Never mad at you.
Mad. No, I'm not mad at you, Gary. You showed up. That's as that we can't be mad at you. I mean, if you start asking weird questions, maybe we're gonna get a bit mad. Gary, sorry. But no, yeah, we love you, Gary. So in answer to Gary's question, when will they announce the spring schedule? Do you guys think he means the mid-season schedule for like the Flash and Superman?
I think probably when all the shows are going to come out next year, because we have Gotham Knights, we have Flash, and we have Superman and Lois. I have no idea. We don't know. The new CW's weird, so I have no idea what's going to happen with the schedule. I'd like for it to be sooner than later. What?
Wait,
Andy, do you know?
I don't know. Like, and even if I knew, and if it was embargoed, I wouldn't be allowed to say. But usually they do start announcing stuff towards December. So
Yeah.
maybe. But again, Nexstar is smoking whatever David Zaslav is smoking. So
They do
Logic is
weird,
not
yeah.
part of. Logic is not part of their strategy. They're like, Logic, we don't know her either. We don't like we don't even like women.
Yeah. Who is Logic? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so not
Nexstar
sure.
may as well be run by. Oh, never mind. That name is controversial. No, I was gonna say a controversial name. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna page you this mess.
Right.
So I will just say in the private chat so you all know.
Yeah. Let's say Gary, maybe December. Okay, that's a good guess. And will the Flash be cancelled? And will Superman and Lois be cancelled? Eric, I haven't got your thoughts on Superman and Lois and its fate. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think it's going to be cancelled this season or next season? Do you think this one?
I think that we will get a very similar thing. It'll get to like the 3rd to 4th end of the episode of the season, and they'll come out and say that it's not renewed. That's what I think is going to happen.
I have a strong feeling too.
The only reason why is because all of the stuff that they are saying sounds to me like they're going to play this game where Warner Brothers Discovery and them fight over the production cost of the show, the licensing cost of the show, and it's going to be a problem for both of them. And they're going to go, this is why we can't move forward with it. But I actually think they've already made their mind up, because a lot of the shows, like for example, the Walker prequel, Walker Independence, and the Winchesters, both are performing extremely well. And they did not get additional episodes.
Yeah.
So I think the writing is on the wall. That once I saw that happen, I was like, it's a done deal for Superman and Lois. Now, there is one thing that I think could keep them around. They mentioned there are some shows that they're contractually obligated to do another season for. I don't know what shows those are. I'm assuming they may be newer shows and not shows that came out like 2-3 years ago.
Didn't they used to have contracts for when shows started that it would be like 5 seasons or something? What was it?
Yeah, but I can guarantee they're probably able to get out of those longer contracts somehow. But I just don't see them. Like, I did a lot of digging because I did a whole video on this. The production costs and the license.
That sounded like a fart this time.
It's literally my chair. I'm sorry.
Superman and Lois, the cheapest episodes are $5 million. They can go upwards of $7 to $8 million an episode.
Expensive.
And a large portion of that is licensing fees to use Superman and Lois and some of these other characters from the comics. It's over $1 million in licensing fees for all these characters. If they want to put a cap of 1 million on licensing, that's a good way to eliminate Superman and Lois, because there's no way, unless Warner Brothers negotiates with them on cost, for them to afford to be able to use not only Superman, but Lois and Superboy and whatever villain they're going to use in the season. It's just too expensive. We're going to end up with like Purple Man 3 as a villain, and Triangle Guy and stuff like that, because they just don't have the money to use any actual characters per episode.
Do you think we're going to see an Eric villain live on Superman and Lois if they can't?
I mean, maybe.
You're going to be shocking, and that's going to be your superpower?
I think it was funny. We talked about it back in the 90s on that Flash show. There was a Pollux reverse Flash because they couldn't actually use reverse Flash because it was too expensive. So there was like a purple reverse Flash.
It was like bluey purple, right?
Yeah, blue. He was blue. Blue. I'm like, wait.
And they did that because they couldn't afford to use the real one. So this is what's going to happen to Superman and Lois if they do manage to negotiate a season 4.
So with the CW, did they buy the rights, or because it was Warner Brothers producing?
Well, it's a Berlanti show, but
yeah.
Berlanti negotiates between the two. So like if Nexstar says we don't want to pay more than 1 million for this production, that means either Berlanti has to take on that money themselves and go, we'll pay the 1 million and then just eat the cost with whatever. Or they'll renegotiate with Warner Brothers and try to like lower the cost in that. But the problem is that I don't think anybody wants to just take on money right now. I don't think Warner Brothers is going to go, oh yeah, we'll give you a discount on these characters. I don't think they're going to do that.
They're all about saving money.
Well, David Zaslav loves Superman, so he's not going to give them any leeway with Superman. He might even like increase the cost to use Superman. at this point because of Henry Cavill.
I mean, do you think there's any chance that David, because he likes Superman, would take it to HBO Max? Or
well, see, here's the problem, because he's already talked about not having multiple characters. So the chances of him moving that show over to whatever HBO Max becomes, because it's not going to be HBO Max beyond spring of next year. First of all, you'd have to convince me that he doesn't mind multiple characters, which he's come out and talked out against. He says it's really confusing. He wants James Gunn to be the person making all the calls for the creative side, including animation, which means Berlanti, even though he's got a good relationship with Warner Brothers Discovery, I don't think it has anything to do with Superman and Lois. I think it's just him as a production, head of his production company.
His overall deal, which is almost up in the next 1 or 2 years. So.
Yeah. So my theory is that unless all the stars align next year for Superman and Lois, we will end up seeing a season 3 series finale for Superman. Unfortunately, because I think this show has done something with Superman that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
And I love Henry Cavill as Superman. I'd be totally okay with him being the movie Superman and Tyler as the TV Superman. That would work for me. But I don't think that's what David Zaslav has in mind for DC.
I don't know. I just hate it. I hate that idea that you can only have one. That was a problem, like you guys have been saying before, for such a long time with all these characters. Like, oh, you can't show Batman, you can't show Superman. Like, even in the start of Supergirl, they weren't able to show Superman. You remember, it was just like kind of his body shape silhouette. And so it's just annoying that we have someone in charge of the company of Warner Brothers who is very much so adamant about keeping it all very exclusive to.
Well, the other thing I want to point out in that interview is that he says that he talked with people over at Marvel, like obviously James Gunn and Kevin Feige and other people in that creative sphere, and he seems to believe that they think that keeping everything in one cohesive universe is their idea. But like Andy was saying, Loki is technically an Elseworlds show because it's about a Loki in another universe. So Marvel is not doing that. I don't know why David Zaslav thinks they're doing that. Loki is technically an Elseworlds story. Spider-Man freshman year is going to be an Elseworlds story. There's these characters that are going to exist outside of the main continuity.
Yeah. So, what if?
Yeah. So David Zaslav seems to have this idea that he wants everything to be part of one continuity like Marvel. And again, that's not even what Marvel's doing. So I
don't know. I would have both.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Arrowverse and DCU. That's what I would do. Because I think it's a valuable property. It has a lot of fans. So I don't know. They're just all throwing it away. You go, Andy.
What I was going to say was that, okay, so I think that, okay, I got to be very careful. Okay, so I don't think what David is saying is that he's necessarily closing out the idea of standalone universes. I think that he's just not going to do too much with it. Like, for example, I think some of the projects that may not end up happening, for example, is like that Val Zod show from Michael B. Jordan on HBO Max, that Superman reboot from J.J. Abrams, that might not be happening either anymore. But like, I definitely think there's going to be a space where like you will see at least 2 versions of a character. But like, I think they're just not going to go too crazy with it. Like, for example, like that's why we're probably never going to see someone like, let's say we never see the Flash on Titans for whatever reason, because they're like, we already have Grant, we already have you know who, and so because if he's talking to Marvel and he's like, also he's working with Alan Horn, who has he was with Warner Brothers, went to Disney, had a great track record. He's now back at Warner Brothers, and he's there to consult. So I think that I think what David Zaslav just needs to start doing is to stop talking. If I don't know why his publicist hates him so much.
Yeah,
if I was his manager, I would be like, David,
shut up.
Shut up. It's like, are you sure you're not Dr. Jekyll and Hyde? Because this shit is getting insane. So again, I don't think he's necessarily going to close out the idea. Okay, for example, if Superman Lois doesn't get renewed, I don't think it will necessarily be because he is somehow swinging his act, as we say we always say in this multiverse, he's swinging his axe just to cut and so on. I think it could be a partial factor, but ultimately it will likely be because of Next Star and this version of the CW. And as far as with HBO Max goes, I think the only reason why this has might have any involvement in that front is like, why would we give people a free Superman show weekly when we could have $1 billion franchise worth of it? And that's probably why like he probably has been pushing for Henry Cavill to come back and all these things. So I agree with Eric is saying. It's weird to hear him say that he's against this idea, but then he's talking to literally the creative people on Marvel that are doing all of those things. I mean, yeah, because I'm sure he's talked to some of the people that do some of the Spider-Verse stuff because Amy Pascal's crew is part of the MCU too. So
by the way, the Spider-Man Multiverse movie made $1.9 billion.
Mm-hmm.
But he thinks fans are confused. But fans are confused. They don't understand multiple.
Yeah, I think that this is why I think James, like when it comes to the DC brand, he needs to stop talking and let James and Peter do like they are the ones that should be the PR statements about like these things. And sorry, where was I going with this? Damn it, Page, stop it! Oh my god. I think that's why remember what the James said on Twitter I think it was last week or something. He did a whole thread. He's acknowledging the multiverse. They're obviously not giving it away and so on. But Sonic, I'm not talking about it on being on HBO Max. I'm talking about it on being on the CW. Like for all we know, maybe he will put Superman Lois on HBO Max. But it's like if they didn't do it for Batman,
I would love to be wrong about this. I would love to be wrong. Call me out all day because I would prefer for the show to go on, but I'm just not very confident. But I would love to be wrong.
Yeah, and the only reason I'm saying is because if they didn't do it for Batwoman, which is already on HBO Max, if they didn't do it for Stargirl, which was HBO Max was co-funding Stargirl from season 2 and forward. If they didn't do that, I doubt they're going to do it for Superman Lois if it gets canceled by the CW. So, so I was talking more about giving for free by airing on the CW, not talking about on the. Obviously, I'm paying money for HBO Max. Like I'm not dumb. I get it. So, yeah, it's I'm kind of getting ready to kind of just abandon my investment in the CW after the Flash. Like it's like literally the last show that I like. It's part of like my career at this point because I don't think that CW is going to be what we.
Okay, serious question for Eric specifically. What are you gonna do when the Arrowverse ends? DCU?
I've already started like doing other stuff on my channel. If you looked at my channel, I talk about like movies and other stuff.
Yeah, he has layers, Ben. He's like a big onion. There's lots of layers.
I'll probably continue to do it. What will change on my channel is, and I told you this before we even started streaming, is the idea of doing like individual reviews for stuff. We'll probably move over to like multiple live streams where I can talk about the shows. Like Titans and stuff like that, Doom Patrol. I like engaging with the community with stuff, and I find that doing reviews becomes very I don't know, it's like me talking, like yelling at people, and sometimes it's like I want to get feedback while I'm doing it. And so I think I'm going to move more into that after the shows if they both end next season. But my content will continue. There's always going to be superhero stuff to talk about. It'll just be something other than the Arrowverse. I mean, we continue to go after Arrow. We continue to go after Supergirl. I mean, it's moving on to something else. My hope is that Warner Brothers Discovery starts releasing DCTV shows on whatever the new streaming platform is. So we have those to talk about to make up for the Arrowverse.
Yeah. That's my thought. Like, in terms of creating content and stuff, of course we're all going to continue making it about DC related stuff or Marvel for you, but like I hope if the Arrowverse dies, it's going to be a huge shame. I think it's a huge waste because it has so many fans, but I hope they see the how successful it was. I know it wasn't that good in terms of live view ratings, but I really hope that they create some sort of new DCTV universe on whatever streaming platform that they have in, the spring or whatever and beyond.
With James Gunn's Peacemaker connection, they could easily do multiple. I heard there was rumors of a Mr. Terrific project or something like that coming out. So there's rumors of things that could be happening. And as long as we get a few of those a year, I'm good with that. So
also, Sonic says in the chat we have Gotham Knights to talk about.
we don't have that.
Except that is going to be a limited series, like, or that's confirmed.
I feel really bad for Natalie and everybody working on that because they left Well, actually, it's weird. They left Batwoman, and the Batwoman got canceled. So I guess that was a good thing. But then they got attached to Gotham Knights, and now Gotham Knights is probably
now it's getting canceled.
So I feel really bad. They're very talented, and hopefully they'll get more work in the future. But it just sucks because they probably put a lot into the series, even though it doesn't look great to me. Art is subjective.
And Justice View is dead, by the way.
Oh yeah, there's Justice View is definitely not happening. Definitely
I'm not going to comment on that. So.
He's not commenting. I say there's 0% chances happening at this point. That's my bet. I would bet on that. So I would be extremely surprised if there was any Justice View. Okay, Gary sent in another super chat. So
I am very mad at you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary. Gary says, when do you think we will get the Flash Season 9 trailer? And do you think the Flash Season 9 and Superman and Lois will be cancelled? Oh, we talked about that, Gary, in your previous super chat, the last bit. We summarized that we think Superman and Lois is probably going to end at the end of this season. We would love to be wrong, but that's just probably what's going to happen based on what's happening. And Flash Season 9, yes, is ending. But in terms of the trailer, are you guys presuming December, early January? What are you thinking right now?
Well, I guess that really determines when it depends on when the show is getting released. I mean, if the show gets released in February, yeah, I would assume January would be like the latest we would see a trailer. But
do you presume February or do you presume January? I don't know.
No, it's going to premiere in January, or
it'd be late January for premieres, very late probably.
At this point, I don't think it will be even late January because like they want to market this final season as well as they can, even though they.
Are you sure? They never promote final seasons. Look at Supergirl, Black Lightning, anything.
I mean, I will say that if it gets announced next month, that means that they're doing it right during the holidays, and they're expecting them to market it to then, be kicking in and working throughout December, where, probably not a lot of people are watching CW at that point. So I think at this point, I'm saying this as a speculation. I actually don't know. I know other things about season 9, but I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know when the first trailer is coming out. It's debuting, but I'm guessing because all I've heard is they keep referencing mid-season all the time. Mm-hmm. So, but that could be February, that could be Mars. I don't think later than April that would be, unless they really
not mid-season.
Because this was one of the things I even asked Eric, and Eric Wallace, not I'm sure I can ask this Eric as well. That's fine. But I asked him is it because I was kind of perplexed about you guys are coming back in 2023. Would you hope that means that we don't have a lot of breaks then? And that's his hope. He's hoping that being able to do the next season in 2023 will allow them to be able to air as little interruptions as possible. So
keep in mind that right now the CW, outside of the shows that we're talking about now and the other franchise shows like the Winchesters and the Walker shows or whatever, this is pretty much it for their scripted content. Like,
what about All American?
Yeah, no, I mean, but like this year. Like, what's coming out in 2023? This is it. 2024. I will be very surprised if we have anything more than a couple of scripted shows, and we might not even have those because I feel like they're trying really hard to push for profit leading into 2025.
Do you actually think they're going to make profit? Say, if we skip forward a couple of years.
Oh yeah, you've heard their plans, right? They're definitely going to make profit. They want to turn their third hour of primetime into affiliate news, which allows them to sell ad space for content they're not producing. So they're
going to have no one that's going to be actively engaged. It's just
I agree with you, but I think my theory is their comment about our viewing audience is 58 years old. They're looking at daytime TV. And yes, from 8 a.m. till 7 p.m, it is all older viewing content. It's all Judge Judy type stuff. It's much it skews older. Their primetime content was for a younger market. And I think they believe that if they just extend that older content till 9 p.m, that people will just continue watching their channel. And that's a gamble. But I do believe that at least in the short term, advertisers will continue to pay for content because they're going to be getting a lot of these shows that are second run that they're buying for really cheap from like Canadian markets and international markets, and they're putting out as a CW exclusive because it is the first time it's aired in the United States, and they'll put it out that way. And that's where they're going to try and make their money from. So they're not doing anything in-house. They fired their casting department, so they're not casting anybody through the CW. Whose Line Is It Anyway, which was almost a guarantee to continue, got canceled by the CW. And that show's cheap. All you're paying for that show is talent. That's all you're paying for. So they don't want to do anything except acquire second-run shows, affiliate news, and make profit off advertisers. That's
you know
all
what?
they want
You know
to
what?
do.
They're coming off as Scrooge McDuck. They want to be able to swim in that pool of coins that they
Yeah,
don't want to spend. Which, by the way, if for kids watching at home, don't do that because coins are made of metal that will actually break your bones.
I do want to say though, I don't think this is a long-term sustainable business model. I think this is very short-term.
This isn't a business model. This is a crackhead's idea of how to run a network.
But don't you think there's better networks that people are going to be watching? People have built-in ideas about what the CW is. Some people in
Paramount. Let me point this out to you. So Paramount is investing in all of the stuff that we love. They're doing mid-budget movies. They're going to do horror now. They're going to do like scripted TV. They're going to do reality TV. They're doing it all. HBO Max is kicking all that off their network. CW is kicking that off their network. Things are getting canceled on other platforms. Pretty soon, Paramount is going to be like the premier streaming service for content next to like Apple TV, which still does like really good stuff. These other networks are going in the route of MTV, and we all know MTV is pretty much shit nowadays. Like it's all disposable, flushable content, which is fine to put on in the background while you're doing something else, but it's not engaging content. It's just not. And so Paramount is like, we're going to put out engaging content. I predict in the next 2 years, Warner Brothers Discovery will be selling DC properties to Netflix and to Paramount and places like that because they're killing their own service. That's what I think.
That's interesting.
Cool. It's not. It's I think it's a very educated hypothesis because I definitely think they're gonna pull out to other platforms, like Apple Plus TV. Wait, is it Apple TV Plus? Whatever it's called. I only know. Plus, I only know it as a Ted Lasso network because that's the only show I watch on that network. I love Ted Lasso. Oh my god! And like, they need to stop jerking us around if season 3 is the final one. You
need to watch the morning show on there too, Andy. Watch the morning show.
Who's on it?
It's got Jennifer Aniston on it and some other people. Yeah. It's really good. It's won a bunch of awards and it's got 2 seasons. I think you'll love it.
Also, Eric, are you signed up to all the streaming services? By the way?
I got everything right now. Yeah.
So what? Paramount, Disney, HBO Max,
all of them.
Hulu. What other ones?
Hulu, Netflix, the Roku network. I've got all of them. Everything. I usually do the biggest package deal because it saves you money. So if they offer a year subscription, that's what I do because it ends up being cheaper.
Yeah. I think I've got Netflix and Disney Plus.
I have Peacock as well. Jamie.
HBO Max is not available here. I would get it if it was here, but yeah.
Oh, Discovery Plus. I have Discovery Plus as well.
I would consider Paramount. It seems interesting. I don't know if it's available here, but yeah, Paramount.
So Paramount has tons of IP. Some of the biggest stuff on it right now is Star Trek. It has like 7 different Star Trek shows that are all bringing in big numbers for Paramount. Not to mention it also, I think Smile got released on Paramount this week as well. So they are.
Wait, the Smile as like the dragon from. Wait, is that how it's spelled? Like the dragon from The Hobbit?
Smile, right?
That's what I thought.
You mean the film?
Yes, Smile the movie.
Oh, Smile! Oh,
he thought you said Smog or something.
I'm sorry. My
Smile is on Paramount Plus already because they're doing what they were talking about with Walter Hamada is they're bridging that like theatrical and streaming platform or whatever. And guess what? It's doing really well for them. So I'm just saying Paramount Plus has got a lot of stuff. And if you like reality TV, it's got a ton of that too. I watched Survivor on there. It's got a lot of really good content. So
it's available in the UK, Paramount Plus.
It's very, very
That's
good.
Where HBO Max is missing out again.
Yeah.
I will say this though. I will say this when it comes to Warner Discovery is that I think that there's definitely gonna be a streaming service. There's gonna be DC, because I'm guessing we're talking about DC Comics because that's what we're most interested in. I definitely know that's gonna be a part of it. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like, for example, we have the Sandman on Netflix, for example. I think there's gonna be a few platforms, not a lot, but a few that are gonna like reach out. Like, we're gonna have these kind of shows on Netflix, and these kind of shows on Apple Plus TV, and these kind of shows on HBO Discovery, whatever the fuck they're gonna call it, I don't know. HBO Max, like we already get used to how dumb of a name HBO Max is. Now we're gonna have to deal with two nonsense companies trying to merge into one. But yeah, like I don't, because Warner Bros. Discovery, they know that the streaming game is like the streaming business is something they have to be invested in. They don't have to do everything on streaming. I think like the previous regime with Warner Bros. Wanted to do, but like David Zaza must be really like he must have really been dropped a lot as a kid on his head if he thinks that he cannot have his own streaming service as part of this, goal to capitalize every IP and brand within Warner Bros. Discovery. So I just think he needs a new publicist, and I think that new publicist needs to tell him to shut the hell up. Listen, David, I will do it. Hire me, and I will script the most wonderful things for you to say that will make so many
Andy
people
is
happy.
good at keeping his mouth shut when he has to, so he knows how
Yeah,
to
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted to comment on one final thing. So there were some photos that released earlier this week with Canada Graphs being the one taking them, and Andy, it has come true. Eric, it's come true. The hotness, Pied Piper, and Goldface, they are back. It's literally like a team of memes. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Pied Piper, it's always been cool though on the show.
No, Pied Piper is cool. I'm talking about the hotness here, and I'm talking about Goldface, because like we were like, I had a feeling. I was talking to Flashverse recently because he's obsessed with Goldface, and we were like, he's totally coming back. Eric Wallace, he's gonna bring back Goldface. He loves him. So, what do you think about that, Eric? The meme, the dream meme team.
I hate it.
I know, Andy.
Okay, listen.
It's funny.
Goldface is kind of sexy. Like the dude they got to play him is kind of hot. So
you're not saying
he's a good-looking guy. Like, I know.
I'm just trying to like. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think, because I don't know. So I don't trust me for one. Like, I don't know specifically what they're doing in an episode. I think that they are only there for a few scenes. I don't think they have a really big storyline at all, and I think it's more about Barry having to recruit some reinforcements, and also I think it's also just a result of that they probably had other Rogues members they wanted to bring back. Like they probably wanted to bring back Widow Wizard, but Lee McIntyre, he's probably busy doing stuff. Wentworth Miller is, Legends of Tomorrow killed off Captain Cold, so good job. Heatwave is not even Heatwave anymore. He's whatever the hell they made him on Legends. And so like they probably had I'm sure they had other options they wanted to go for, but maybe they couldn't make it happen. So they're trying to go with what they do have because it is the final season. But again, Eric, I can understand if you don't like those characters, that's perfectly fine. I think that's let's just see what happens. I'm sure because again, when they brought back the hottest last season, I was petrified. I'm like, oh no, they're gonna bring back "Where's my money" guy. And then he made a very sweet story with him and his son.
To be honest, I did like that. Twist.
So if they just stick it to that, but but if he's back to being like, Barry, I'm, hey Flash, I'm still waiting for my money. Then I would be like, I will even go like, Eric Wallace, come on now, bro.
By the way, I just double checked. Black Adam's numbers have not moved since Monday. They've not made any significant sales since Monday.
I need to go back and watch it. I'm going to support the film. I'm going to be the sole supporter of the film. So
I don't think you're the sole. A lot of people love. I love that movie. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just very surprised. Like in my head, I was thinking, oh, it's going to get at least 600 million.
I was thinking it would too, and I'm really shocked that it didn't. But I said that before the Superman news came out. I think the Superman news kind of overshadowed the movie. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe. I think it would have been cool if like it was a bit more ambiguous and people went
I
to
can
it.
guarantee you, because I heard people saying this, they thought that Black Adam was going to fight Superman at the end of the movie based on like all the spoilers and stuff.
Mhm.
And when it came out that he was just in a cameo in the end credit scene, a
Or
lot
you
of people
think people were disappointed?
Oh yeah, I know people were. There were people that told me they're like, "Man, I wanted to see him fight Superman. I thought that's what was
Yeah,
going to
but you'll
happen."
see
With
that in the future.
No, I know, but I think it hurt this movie in the present is the problem.
Fair enough. But yeah, when I watched it and it was like a group of like 10 people in the cinema, everyone lost their minds. People were swearing, people were like screaming. I don't know, it was a cool experience for me at least. So yeah, I can understand if people were hearing spoilers and being like, oh yeah, like I'm expecting Black Adam.
Imagine if embargoes were a thing, Warner Brothers.
The embargo broke a long time ago.
Yeah. Or how about we just don't invite loud-mouthed YouTubers?
I was to say general public to the
Yeah,
premiere.
exactly. Who people who are, have for some reason she has everyone knows what I'm talking about. Who has all these thousands of people, but yet they can barely keep an embargo under their day if their life depended on that. So.
Yeah, that's true. Entirely true.
I'm
But
not
yeah,
petty,
so
I'm not petty.
that pretty much does it for this live stream. I think we're over an hour. It's an hour and 20. Yeah, we had some good conversations, and thanks for everyone who tuned in throughout the entire live stream. Eric is going to be doing a live stream later tonight on YouTube.
It'll be exactly 5 hours from now.
In exactly 5 hours from now.
Yeah, because I just looked at the time. We're not going to do it, so you're not going to be able to join me. So
yeah, no, that's the middle of the night.
Yeah, I had to switch the time because I realized it was off on my thing, so I can't change it now. So it's 5 hours from now.
Oh wow! Like you can't change it in your stream?
No. I mean, I could, but I think people are expecting it to be then. I don't want to move it up because then the people that know it's going to be at 10:30 will be mad at me and be like, "Why did you change the time?"
Yeah. Well, anyway, so Eric is going to be talking about Black Panther tonight on his channel. And then after party is on Saturday as usual, and I think I will be coming this week, so go tune in.
You're saying it here. Look, everyone that's been asking me for like 3 weeks now where Ben is, he's saying he's going to be there.
Guys, okay, if you want me on the after party, please message me because I am terrible at remembering anything. So there you go. Well, I have it written here, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be ready.
I'm not unhappy, Triple X. I'm just listening. I'm concentrating.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, Andy, are you going to be awake in 5 hours?
Yeah, I don't ever sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah.
You think Andy ever sleeps? No.
Nah.
What are you talking about? How can he write so many articles?
Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing. If Ben doesn't show up, I will act as Ben in the text chat.
Oh, okay.
Because if you have me on, I cannot do a British accent.
Oh, okay. Can you pretend to be him in the chat though? Can you do that?
Yeah, he could pretend to be me.
Yeah. We gotta do something on the after party, but we should do some. Wait, what is happening now?
What's going on?
Is that our ship name?
Yeah, I'm.
Listen, Ben can do so much better than me. Don't let him be stuck with a plague like myself. I'm fine. I'm not fine.
Yeah.
I'm not fine for him. So yeah. Thanks for having us, Ben.
Yes,
So yeah, and remember, guys, if you want to get any merch, please be sure to become a member. You can get it right now.
Of his OnlyFans.
Yes, on my YouTube channel.
Wait, why was Jesse Quick on the thumbnail?
Yeah, because we were going to talk about it, but then we ran over time, so it's okay.
Wait, did she do something?
There's a theory that Jesse Quick is going to be.
She was in Vancouver, I believe, with Candice Patton and also Javicia Leslie. So we were going to talk about that, but yeah. So there's a theory that maybe she's in the show.
Ben will do a separate video on it, I guess.
One bit. Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, so
I just did a Ben test in the chat.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I love caramel.
No. Andy, stop it. Okay.
Amy whammy for the win, right?
Whammy, yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna head off. So catch you guys later. Goodbye.
Bye.